In today's video, I want to go over the concept and discussion of minimalism. Last night, Crystal and I watched Minimalism, the documentary on Netflix. I highly recommend it. Here, just like watch the trailer of it right here.
I was spending money faster than I was earning it, attempting to buy my way to happiness. I thought I'd get there one day. Eventually, happiness had to be somewhere just around the corner. I was living paycheck to paycheck, living for a paycheck, living for stuff. But I wasn't living at all.
So I want to talk about a couple of things, like what I think of it, what we think of it, and a couple tips and tricks and things to consider just around the topic. So first of all, when we started our journey from the big house to the regular RV, minimalism wasn't trendy or hadn't been trendy yet like it is, I'd say, is a buzzword today. So we didn't do it in the process or even have the mindset to understand minimalism. We just said we can only bring the stuff that is going to fit in that relatively small storage unit or the RV. Like, that's what it came down to. Like, we had to make a decision of will it fit or will it not. And with that, we learned what things are truly valuable to that cause and what are things that are really truly extra that are just sitting in a closet and really not needed. And I think as we got further and further along into the process of this, we learned the term minimalism and then got a little bit more tools, but we were basically already in the RV, I'd say, for the most part. I'll answer the question of, are we minimalists? And I would say yes. I think we are now. Like Chris and I were talking about, if we were to put everything we have inside a 600 square foot apartment, we would have relatively few items. And it's not a complaint. We actually feel we have probably just the right amount of stuff. It feels somewhat and sometimes cluttered in this space because it is 150 square feet. But at the same time, like, so if you were to move into kind of more of an average, larger, maybe even 600 square foot apartment, we really wouldn't have that much stuff. So I would say yes from that term, but we are far from perfect with it. One thing I want to talk about is actually our enjoyment of it. It is no longer a task. I'll reference to Kristen in a second. She's not in the middle of something. But like an example of is one thing we are so happy with now is if we go to any store, there is no longer this urge and desire to like go look at all the different things to see if there's something new that we need to go get or is better than the current one we have. Like, I know from a vacuum cleaner to a box of toys to my computer to my car that I have what I need and what I value, and just because something has a new feature, I have really no urge to go get a new one. And that's going to change because I have every new iPhone. I have, like, that has definitely not been the case in our past. I've always wanted the new car, and it no longer is there this desire to constantly upgrade, I would say. So Kristen, what is, would you say that you're happier in your big house, or are you happier in your RV with less things? So big house with all the things, literally all the things, or the RV with the current amount of things?
Definitely the RV with the current amount of things. When we were in our house and we thought we had everything we needed, we often did not use the house and the space that we had for what it was intended for. So even in our house, we were always in the same room as each other. And so 3,000 square feet for the four of us was insane. The kids were barely upstairs. It was a 2-story house. They were barely upstairs. We had an entire loft space that was neglected. There were 2 extra bedrooms upstairs that weren't being used.
Guest room, extra playroom.
Yeah.
so much.
So I would say that living in a smaller space with the things that actually are things that we want and things that we need on a daily basis. And mind you, we are still purging pretty frequently.
Jesse, every time
But having a space that we only keep what we want and what we think is what we need has been really nice. I'm much happier in a smaller space with less things than a bigger space with more things that are unnecessary.
Yeah, so to wrap up Kristen's points, Chris, I agree with you. I mean, there's this whole concept of you just, like, I have everything I need. There's no discussion, there's no desires, and having that removed, like that feeling of the desire being removed actually is what makes you happy, not fulfilling that desire.
Right, because we...
They can't see you. Hang on.
I think at the end of the day, now we are spending our money on adventures and experiences instead of spending our money and wasting our money on tangible items that just sit around and collect dust.
Yeah.
That don't really add value.
I mean, I would say we each had, like, we called them like hobby budgets. And so Kristen's was mainly at like a craft store, which was fine back then. I mean, we didn't know better. And mine was at a hardware store, you know, typically building or toys, electronics and things. And like since we moved in here, there's no desire to buy things. One, because you just flat out don't have space to put it. But two, you realize, like, I just don't need it. Like, I just don't need it. Okay, anyways. Okay, so a couple of tips. If you are in the process of downsizing or thinking about doing this kind of thing, here's what I suggest. There's a KonMari method that Kristen introduced, which talks about how to kind of go through your things and how to declutter your home. It's a great place to start. And is it Marie Kondo?
Yeah, it's the Marie Kondo method.
Okay, so Marie Kondo is the one who created this. She talks about how to go through your things and find the items and talk to the items about how they add value and bring you joy, is I think her term, versus not, and how to donate the things that don't versus keep the things you want. And I think it's a great place to start. It's not necessarily minimalism, because she's really talking about just getting rid of the clutter and things you don't need. Like, think about all the things in your closet you haven't touched in 6 months, right? So it's getting rid of some of that extra stuff. Then another website would be the minimalists.com. And those are the people who are in the Netflix documentary. Watch it. It's a pretty quick little documentary. We watched it, I think, in like an hour. I don't remember how long, but it was a really... I enjoyed the video. I thought it was well done. It was well produced. So definitely watch it if you're interested more in the concept. And then a small shameless plug is Kristen actually has a blog, which I will link here. And she talks about minimalism and downsizing and organizing tips in her blog. So if you're looking for kind of more ways to do that, another good resource. And there's a ton of them out there, and even a ton of YouTube channels just kind of focusing on this. And I just want to encourage you guys to look more into it, because it's not about just giving away your things. That's not what we care about. What we care about is you're literally just happier not dealing with all the stuff. Like, the stuff actually creates what I would call like noise in your head. Like, if you come home and your house is full of stuff, that actually can sometimes be more mental clutter and more mental noise than anything else. So, okay, those are the thoughts today. I would love to have a conversation about this in the comments below if you guys have any additional resources or questions about minimalism just in general. It's been something that we've been really enjoying the more and more we dive into it. And we can even do like closet tours and things, but like, we'll get to that later. All right, well, I think that's the vlog for today. Tomorrow will be another day. And at that point, we will see you guys then. All right, have a good night.